Hello again, everybody. Merry Christmas. It's time for part 2 of the Icey Cast Soundbooth Q A. We had so much fun, Jamie McDermott, I'm John McKellar, that we decided to keep going. We have quite a few more things to talk about.
God says you better fucking keep going, Jamie. You better keep going.
Yeah, I'm just like, mate, we're going all night, mate. It's an all-nighter, mate. It's an all-nighter. Every 45 minutes, I'm just going to boot you off for 5 minutes and then bring you back on. Aye, mate. Aye, still having fun, mate. Aye.
Run out of sniper after this once it's hard.
It's when I start quoting season 3 of Twin Peaks that you need to worry. That's when you know that I've lost it.
I knew you lost it a long fucking time ago. Anyway, John, so...
wait a minute. How fucking dare you? That's rich coming for you, tiny man.
Fair.
I apologise. That was out of order. Anyway, yeah. So, Soundbooth. It's a horror film that's in pre-production, I guess you would call it. Or is it in production now that it's been written? I don't know.
It's pre-production.
Yeah.
It's actually getting made. It's just...
All I know is that principal photography hasn't started, so there's that. I don't know my insider terms that well, but yeah. We left it on the subject of crew. Who's in the crew so far, and just how big a crew are you hoping to put together for this film? How big a crew do you reckon it will need? Have you had any advice for anybody that might know a thing or two about that kind of thing?
I mean, I've had loads of advice. We want to keep it as low as possible, crew-wise. Because it's no.
Because you want your cut of the proceeds to be bigger.
I like so.
To call back to the last episode, part one.
Call back, mate. I like it. So I'll be doing directing, but I've also got an assistant director in, which hasn't been totally confirmed yet. He has to make sure that he's no writing an album with somebody at the same time. It's because the guy's like a fucking very famous session musician basically, and he's writing an album about the same time, so he wants to try and time it. So I'll find it soon on that. But that's because I need Oyas is new to Oyas, so I need other eyes as well on it. I mean, you're pretty much a thing with producer, so an assistant producer, because you're doing a lot of running about now. I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing now, is running about and kind of filling all the gaps in that.
Yeah,
you're an ass producer, and the other guys.
You want me to produce the ass? I'll produce the ass anywhere, anytime.
No, you'll get me banned with Facebook again, no, John.
You couldn't be any more banned if you were fucking, I don't know, if you're on the Orange Walk.
I didn't do it this time. Look, I didn't do it. It says nudity.
I didn't do it. You got your cock out, just admit it.
No.
Nothing to be ashamed of, mate. I do it myself all the time.
Oh, like the great Andy McCann says, you better get that work in your cock check. And I went, that is the cock.
So the size that matters, mate. Yeah. Becky, wouldn't you agree?
Right. Shut up, it's girth. It's all about girth. So, a lot of the weird crew bits are we've got makeup, we've got the lasses who used to have the stitching bitch and the icebox. It was all the burlesque lasses. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. It was Steph that used to bring them in and teach them how to prepare and make kind of burlesque plays. Now they've Steph's already stepped up and she was like, we can make costumes if you want, and we'll just run it as classes. And I'm like, that's fucking amazing. I love that. I love that idea as as community kind of stuff coming
What's
together.
What's that called? Is that upcycling into it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But as we were talking about as well, certainly for the clothing in it, I want people to kind of wear what they're comfortable with. There's still going to be, obviously, they've got wardrobe, they've got makeup, who'll look at what you're wearing and go, nah, or aye, that's all right. So, it tells you how fucking ignorant I was. I was like, do we need makeup? And a lassie, Gail, down the bars was like, no, you need makeup. She went, you look totally different under lights.
Yeah.
Normally, because she's worked on all the big theatre productions. And she was like, I'll keep you right, I'll just do makeup. And I'm like, right, cool, that's what you do then, that's fantastic. Yeah. We've got a lampy, we've got a couple of retired engineers who aren't involved.
Nice one.
On the bits that I was talking to you about, I'm like, how the fuck do I get smoke coming out here and it keeps going at different bits?
Yeah.
That's an engineer's job. That's it's not what I do. I just say to them, I want to happen. So
one thing,
two's come together quite well.
Yeah. One thing that we won't be having is fire marshals. I think there was originally going to be fire in the script, but it's had to be removed because, like, turns out that fire's like really fucking dangerous, and you need to have like super qualified people. Yeah, you need to have like super qualified people around that we just probably don't have access to in terms of.
I mean,
like, financially,
that's a budgetary thing as well. So, see, if we were going to have like actual, like, we wanted stuff exploding basically, and going like, you need 2 fire marshals, and like you pay them by the day. So if you're doing like rewrites a bit and it goes on for like 3 or 4 days, I'm like, what the fuck, bro? So we are still going to have that kind of thing in it, but there's other ways to do explosions and fire that isn't actual explosions of fire. All the budget stuff is made us think differently. It's made us very inventive, mate. What the fuck are you laughing at? Have you had another interesting
You want an explosion, Jamie? I'll fucking explode for you.
Like, just you yourself? God, that's weird. Do we feed you paracetamol at Pigeons?
Aye. Baking soda.
Baking soda, aye. So there is, it's basically forced us to be more inventive. I think up other ways of doing stuff. So which I quite like. I mean,
it's like we were chatting about when we had our
scale models, tiny models. Like stop motion, like make it funny, so it is actually funny.
Like obvious props and stuff.
Yeah, like if you can't hide a bad effect, then make it obvious and make it funny that is actually what it is. So
100%. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff that we watch, like a lot of the classic slasher films, even like the Friday the 13th, your Freddy Krueger's, your Michael Myers, a lot of the scenes in these films are quite obviously prosthetic.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if they've kind of kept it in as a sort of like, as like a nod and a wink to the audience of like, we know that you love this schlock shit. And so here's like overdrive of the schlock.
I think it's Friday the 13th Part 5 where a woman gets pulled through the window and flung out the window, and it's quite obviously a mannequin.
Yeah.
Like it lands like a mannequin. They don't even like look away from it. So you get the camera that cuts away before it lands, so it doesn't show you it's a mannequin. All they done was slow it down a bit, but it hits you and nothing moves. You're like, that's not really working. They just a jumper on a brick. So or the guy in the wheelchair that goes down the stairs with the machete in his head.
Oh man, that's so sick.
What, they couldn't get a guy in a wheelchair? No.
I think that even in like 1980, whatever it was, that was problematic. Bullying the disabled.
It was actually very. It was shocking. It was shocking. And now, like, we watch that now and we laugh at it because that's no problematic now at all. So.
Because it's. I mean, it probably should be, but it's just done in such a way that is so absurd. And I think the absurdism, by the way, is something that we're really leaning into. Particularly the set piece sections that kind of break the film up. It's going to go to some strange places. The next question after crew that I wanted to touch on was cast. How far along is the casting? Because obviously there's probably going to have to be casting, and then you'll have to get everybody together to do like table reads and rehearse things, and there might be things that just don't click.
Yeah.
So how far along are you with your idea for who the cast is going to be?
I've got a good idea who I want to play the parts. Like I've already, there is a few people that I've already said, so like if you want that part, you're definitely getting it. There's a few other parts that I'm still not sure about. There's a few people that have applied for different parts. I thought there'd be more folk applying for like the extra parts as well, just to like I'll spend an extra. But everybody that's read the script is like, I want to be that speaking part all the way through. And you're like, everybody applying for the same bits. That makes it difficult for me as well. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we can kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, Becky wants to kill. So.
As long as it's good.
No, they're all gross. But it's like see when that when I abandoned it, I applied for extra parts. loads of extra
wanting to be killed by you, Jamie, is some pretty kinky shit, man. That's a bit weird.
I mean, we get to kill a band, John, which is we've wanted to do that.
We've both wanted to do that in real life for a very long time, so it's going to be therapeutic.
That will be therapeutic. So we're still sitting about the same with that. I want to get these rewrites done first and resend the script out to folk.
Yeah.
Say, look, we've no massive rewrites because it doesn't the talking.
Half of them are going to be like, "What the fuck? I don't want anything to do with this."
I kind of hope at least one of them does that because they're like, "Oh, it's too much. I'm out."
That's a bit too mental.
I want the impact to hit either way. I don't want anybody to go, it's all right. So,
although if they pay to see it, then they can say that if all they want. Like that would be that's fine.
Aye, that's true.
So not doing too badly then. Obviously, with things kicking off, it's Christmas Day as this has gone out, and obviously it's just before Christmas as we're recording this. Like things are going to be pretty much in stasis until after the holidays, I would imagine, and I would certainly hope that you're planning on taking a good few days off of doing anything, because you've been running pretty fucking heavy for months, non-stop, basically, Jamie. So I would imagine that the plan will be over the holiday period to take a bit of a break, then come back in January, finish off the rewrites, get the new script out to people, and then start to fill the roles a bit more aggressively.
I'm just going to sit in a bath for days listening to Doctor Who and drinking gin. That's
good old days, man. Like the good old days. Now that's a callback.
The bath will just be empty, and I'll just be sitting there in the bath.
That is a callback to the very first edition of the NHC Music Podcast back in 2013, and I don't even know if you even realise that.
I do know it.
There you go.
Well, I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Couldn't know a date then.
Yeah, it was a joke the first time, but I like consistency. I like somebody that sticks to their guns. You know what I mean? It's like 10 years, 10 and a half, nearly 11 years later, and you're still doing it. What makes you happy, Jamie?
I know it doesn't make me happy, John, but you know what? It's in there. It's in there.
It is what it is. Yeah. What are your expectations for the film? Like, what are you hoping to achieve with it? Like, obviously, you'll want to like as many people as possible to see it, but what realistically is your your target?
I mean, realistically, like I'd say this year before as well. Like, I've always got grand plans for stuff, but then I have to fucking tone them back because my brain can only make grand plans. I have to fucking try and pull everything back a bit. But I still want, like, I want this to be the first one that kicks off. I mean, it'd be great to have like a fucking A24 type production company in Glasgow that does a lot of stuff in like Scottish, and I'd like that. Like that is my grand plan. That'd be excellent if I could do that. Like we were talking about, like churning out like a couple of films a year, starting off with one while we're doing another one, basically. So try to use a lot of the same kind of crew now, keep people in jobs.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know what? It'll be fun. It'll be fucking. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be in any way, shape, or form. I think there's going to be a lot of things ahead, but it's nothing. It's not going to be any harder than some of the stuff I've done in the past. But it's something I want to do. Like, I actually enjoy doing this. I like it. So, so the stress will be just because I want to do it good. So it'll be stress that I've kind of thinking myself. If you know what I mean, it's not like stress for work or jobs. Like it kind of is, but it's because I want to make the best that I can. And I'm all right with that. Like I'm all right with my kind of self-stress that way. So,
yeah. Now you've touched on the conversations that you and I have had. I've read this full script. We've went over the script a couple of times, and we've worked on some tweaks here and there together to the script. But beyond that, like, how collaborative has it been? Have you reached out to anybody else and got feedback for them and worked that into the screenplay?
No, John. Like, you're the first person I've worked on it with, like, reading through it and changing bits and that. So, what the rest of it has been, like, kind of me making changes to it and going through it again. That's, like, even at the point that I gave it to you, I was like, I need to get it to John the New because I need somebody else to look at it.
Yeah.
Kinda, like this kind of crazy would appeal to.
You found your guy, mate.
Aye, that's it. I need the fresh eyes in it. They'll go,
Yeah.
well, that's great, but this bit could change a wee bit. And even like there was some stupid bits that you pulled out where there was like awful spelling mistakes, and I'm like, how did I not catch that in 3 fucking run-throughs? And you're like,
I think it comes.
There's one.
Yeah, I think it comes back to what you were talking about earlier in part 1, where you were talking about the script blindness.
It does.
You know, like
it does.
it's so difficult to take off the rose-tinted glasses. Like if you write lyrics to a song, you'll be like, oh, that lyric I wrote was so good, and then you'll practice it for a few weeks. You'll be like, that's so fucking good. And then you'll maybe drop it for a while, and then you'll do something else, and then you come back and you'll be like, that's fucking atrocious. That doesn't work. I've done that so many times myself.
It's like years ago that the word Y, just the word Y, W-H-Y, didn't look like a real word to me after a while.
Yeah,
that's how you spell it. That can't be how you spell it.
Yeah.
I literally had to Google the word Y, and you know that stuck with me, John. Stuck with me for years.
I once Googled eagle-eyed cherry. I think I mentioned this on the podcast before. I have absolutely no idea to this day why I did. I don't know what the context was. I Googled eagle-eyed cherry, and I was like fucking 13, 14 pages into Google before I realised what I'd done. I was like, what have you done? I don't even listen to eagle-eyed cherry.
Was it you or was it somebody else that try to convince me that Bruce Willis was dead because you thought that Bruce Willis was definitely dead?
That wasn't me.
Oh.
I know he's sick and that, but no, he's not dead.
No, this was like years ago. I was talking about him and they were like, no, he's dead. And I'm like, no, he's no. This is before he was sick. No, this is just some other fucking maniac again.
Aye, some idiot. Whoever you are, you're an absolute idiot. Where was I? To follow on for that last question. Again, this is all free form. I don't have any noted questions written down of that. This is just Jamie and I celebrating Christmas together, having a chat like we did in the old days. Something we should do more often in the show, I think, particularly with these Q&A shows, and as we get further down the line with Soundbooth, we'll do more of them. But when the crew and the cast is in place and we get to the point where we're making the film, like, how collaborative do you want that process to be? Are you looking for people who are going to be able to connect with what you've written and put what you've written on screen? Or are you going to be looking for people who'll say, I think this might work better? Like, how much of that are you looking for your actors and your crew?
Oh, no, I'd rather they done that. I'd rather, like, because I want the parts to work for them as well. So I certainly don't want to be like rigid and stuff. I'd rather people are collaborative. I know, like, there's a lot of people out there that are better than me than certain things, even with what we're doing now with the project. If somebody gives a line, they're like, I think this might be good at this part, and if it's awesome, then I will fucking run with that. Either that, and I'll just get really drunk and I'll be like, no, fuck you, fuck you, project.
Shut it all down.
No, I'm all about the collaboration. I think it's important that the folk you bring on, and it's important that you listen to other folk. Like a lot of the folk, like, as you know, John, I'm quite old, and so like, certainly for the crew, the crew aspect, a lot of the folk that I'm bringing on board are a good 10, 15, 20 years older than me. But it's folk that have worked in the same kind of industries for years, and obviously they're going to have, like, better knowledge and better eyes at me. I want that. But I want to kind of learn for that as well. So, so I kind of know the framework that I want. I know how I want it to look. But if somebody else gets like they can make it either easier or change wee bits of it, as long as it's still that story and it still looks the way I want it to look, I'm happy.
Yeah, you've got to, like, prepare though, haven't you, for that balancing act of where, like, constructive feedback starts and where it comes to the point where it's getting to where, like, it's not what you wrote anywhere. Like, you've got to, like, surely you've got to be getting in the frame of mind, like, right? Because it's almost like a tug of, I'm not, what the fuck am I doing, man?
You like that, 2 men? That's weird, John. Why is your point?
It's like a tug of war. Almost in it, like, where it's kind of like somebody might have a bit of input that they want you to take into consideration, and then you might be like, aye, that's a great idea, but you're deep down, you're kind of like, that's not what I wrote, you know. Like, How do you prepare for that? Because it's something you've never done before. Is the point I guess I'm trying to make, I
think I'll know though. That's the thing. So like, it still has to be. It's still my project. So I think there'll be points where I'm like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't fit in with what I need in there. Because you do get folk that we all know that'll come into a project. They might be really good at stuff, but they'll try and make it their project a bit as well. Might change it name, and that's like, a lot of people do that without even fucking realising they're doing it. It's just because they're so involved in something as well. So that's one thing that the fit will be doing at that point. So I want to collaborate, but it's still my project at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like we had, like we've mentioned, there's kind of a sizable change. It's a fundamental change to certain parts of the film that we kind of agreed on. But when I first kind of brought the concept to you, you weren't too keen. You weren't like entirely sure. You went away, you thought about it. You went away, you thought about it, and then you thought to yourself, like, this is how we can work that into this, and it actually fits. So I think you've definitely already shown like a willingness to listen, and that you take things on board. It's just having to deal with that for like an entire crew of people, and that's what I was wondering, because it's something you've never done before. Like, how do you balance that? Because there might be like a crew member who says, "Oh, this works really well as it's written," or like, change it to this and that works really well, but then the actor might be saying, I don't agree with him or her, like, that's a stupid idea. Like, how do you then as the director step in and be like, right, here's how we're going to do it?
I mean, ultimately, if it is two people disagreeing with something, it is me that has to step in and say that, no, this is like, I just have to figure out the best way of doing it, and that is the way we fucking do it. So it's like no egos involved. No egos involved.
Not that egos.
No egos in it.
No egos, no. Then you need to get animal safety people in.
Like, as you know, us having the big talk and that the changes that were made in it as well, I'm open to, if there is a suggestion that I'm like, oh shit, that's better than what I've done, then absolutely willing to take on board if I can fit it in. But at the same time, I'm not going to have changes for changes' sake. The only stuff with it, certainly with the script and that I want to take on board, is obviously the actor that's doing the actual part. Might say that it feels better, or it feels thingier if I say it like this. And if it does, then sure, we'll go with it. If it doesn't take anything away from the script, why not? We've already made some changes to a couple of the characters, because after reading through them, like you actually reading them out loud, I was like, that doesn't sound like something somebody would say out loud. It looks good when it's written. It looks crank when it's written, but when it's read out, you're like, no, that has to be taken away altogether, or cut, or softened, or and it's weird that when you hear it spoken out loud and it changes something so fucking much. So I think that absolutely you've definitely shown that in a sort of intimate setting of just you and I. I think the fact that the vast majority of people that are going to be working on the film are going to be people that know you and that you know, and obviously you're going to be people that you trust. So I guess it makes it probably that much easier. And ultimately, if two people disagree or if somebody disagrees with you, then it's important for the start that they know that's fine, but whatever Jamie decides ultimately at the end is what's going to happen on film. Because it's, like you say, it's your film, it's your project. Or we could get a cage fight in the winner, the guy that wins. He wins the cage fight. I mean, there's a couple of really kind of fit lasses in it that could batter Bates.
I'm staying out here, mate. Whatever you say goes. I don't give a fuck.
We could just get a fight. I'm alright with that as well.
Just be like, go.
Suggestions.
Let's talk about the sound and what, because obviously we come from a background of music, right? We've both been in bands before. We've obviously promoted music. We've been, the Icebox and all that. Like, what do you want the film to sound like? Do you want it to sound like an old 80s slasher or a John Carpenter style soundtrack, or do you want it to be more modern? Do you want it to be something completely different? What's your thoughts in terms of how this film's going to sound?
That is a actual good, like, I've kind of talked about this with like a couple of folk that are doing the band stuff in it as well. Like I kind of want it. Like I love John Carpenter stuff. I love Dario Argento stuff. Both of them wrote their own music for other stuff. I'd like that in it, but a lot of this stuff that wouldn't work with us. What we're doing, because this is like we've now managed a lot of music with the actual film itself, with how we're going to kind of work certain scenes. And I think like the songs that are in it will definitely drive the film as well. So I don't think it's mere. I don't think it's like a theme like John Carpenter or Dario Argento. I think it's actual fucking songs. Almost as if, and I'm not a fucking musical fan. So, but the way musicals are driven forward by the songs, some of this is driven forward by the music that's in it. But it could also be unrelated, if you know what I mean. It's a fucking difficult thing to say. I'd rather it was more. We've talked about this the other day, and I'd basically say to the guys like fucking John Waters on acid, or John Waters if he did a giallo, and that was one of the lampies I was talking to him about, and he was like, "How do you want it lighting? Do you want it old? Do you want it new?" And I was like, "Think if John Waters done a giallo new," and he was like, "Oh, so like the ideas are coming out," and he knew what I meant. So I was like, see that like you get the wall of noise. I want like a fucking wall of colours and some bits of it.
A film that I actually think that we take a bit of inspiration from weirdly is the John Wick movies. In that sense, because there are some sort of kind of...
I knew you'd have to fit fucking John Wick in there somewhere.
Actually, no, more so the first film. But like, there's certain sequences in the film that are very musical, and there's a lot of stuff happening that is kind of styled after the music that plays. And it's almost like the scenes in John Wick where he's got about fucking cutting people, and there's the colours, the lighting, and every cunt dancing about and all that. And the music is quite a fundamental part of those scenes. It's almost along those lines, which is a weird sort of place to take influence for when it comes to a film like this. But it's almost kind of like that in a way.
Well, even the fighting, and like when you look at the fighting in that in John Wick, it is like something is like fucking it's like dance. It's like
absolutely.
Even like, all right, John, we'll talk about John Wick for a bit. That big fight we have in the kind of the venue bit, like that's that's mental. That is absolutely crazy.
It's like a music video almost.
The music, the lights, even though the people dance about them, everything goes to make it what it is.
Aye, definitely, and that's kind of like it's crazy where like I want to actually move for their own inspirations more broadly. Obviously, you've said on the podcast before numerous times, anybody that knows you is well aware that you're an absolute horror obsessive. What influences, though, have you specifically drawn for in writing the film itself? And like who... What parts have you taken from whom, I guess?
I'd say a lot of it was My Big Fat Greek Wedding, John. I don't think I've ever seen that, actually. I mean, like, when I first started writing it, it was a slasher that had my head at the start. When I started writing it, it became more a giallo, because I've worked out a lot of the stuff that I've written even in the past is kind of, because that's what I love. Like, I love giallos. I love the lighting. I love the costumes. I like everything matches up. It's like see Wes Anderson, see the way he does all the colours all fucking match up. Every scene's a piece of art. See your good giallo films. Every scene is a fucking piece of art.
And also
the stylized.
Also the characters drive the story way more in like a giallo film than they do in your typical slasher.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely the case with this film, because certainly in the early part of the movie, we spend a lot of time with the main cast of characters and get to know wee bits and pieces about them. And as the film goes along, those threads kind of dangle and they continue through the film. Each of the characters has got their own characterization that is kind of woven into the events that unfold.
Like even like see once like I done like the second and third rewrite of the script, like the characters were easy to write because I realised that I wrote all people that I fucking know. It's like whether I like the people or don't like the people, I definitely wrote folk that I know, and that might just be a case of you write, you know, without even fucking realising it. So my stuff kind of almost turned into gallows as I was doing it. A lot of that was unconscious as well. It's just because I absolutely love gallows, and some of them don't turn out like. I wouldn't even call the church a giallo. The church is like Dario Argento, Michael Suave. I think it's Mario Bava as well, maybe. If I'm remembering it correctly, Michael Suave, Dario Argento. It's no Bava, but the church is absolutely crazy and it's fantastic, and it's one of my favourite kind of movies in that sense that you don't like. You couldn't start watching it. Somebody goes, "So what do you think is going to happen?" You're not going to be right. You're not going to be right. What's going to happen? It's as if two guys like what's the see when thing with the two wrestlers went in a room full of cocaine and they wrote that film Our Night, No Holds Barred or something like that.
Oh yeah. The crazy film with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and they took like they took like 1 million grams of coke and they put it in the morning with a script.
Yeah. Was it no Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon or something?
Vince McMahon, aye. Vince McMahon basically says to Hulk Hogan, "We're going to write a fucking film," and they were in there for 2 or 3 days, and they had like 30 rewrites, and they came with a marginally all right film.
I mean, you're being quite generous, I think.
I watched it recently. It doesn't really stand up to it.
It's a feature film. I'll get that.
It's one of these films that there's bits in it where like there's chat up and kind of sexy scenes, and you're like, I don't know. I think that's assault. So, but see, the church is as if Dario Argento and Michael Suave went in the room next door, also took colours of coke, and wrote a fucking amazing gallo that you just couldn't predict any. It's mental. And then you've got stuff like Demons, Suspiria, Stage Fright, another Michael Suave one. These are all like the films I was brought up with. Like I love these films. I kind of fucking ate them up. Like I did point horror books. This is the kind of stuff, and like they're really violent. They're really gory. A lot of them. Yeah. But that's no the kind of draw in for me. It's the craziness. There's no like main characters could die in a fucking second. You don't know what's going to happen, and I love
exactly
energy. And that's the energy that I wanted to have. So
there's definitely that particular influence is definitely present in the script for this film. Of like you have absolutely no idea what might happen to who in the next scene. Like it's genuinely.
That's why the start was so important to me. I kept saying to you like the start bit, the full fucking start scene. That's why that was so important to get right because I wanted that to set the scene of you don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah, because it looks like any other day that we would have had in the venue to start with. You know, like it's just like literally.
Like, we're all back up working. We all
and it's just like where is this actually going? I thought this was a fucking slasher horror film. It's like I said, it's clerks in a music venue to start with. What other kind of influences then do you draw on more generally? Because I know that this isn't intended to be a one-off. Like you do have other projects in mind.
Yeah.
Like other particular films and particular styles that you want to.
Oh, I mean, for this one, like definitely. I mean, let's face it. Through reading through the script, it's definitely got a kind of weird From Dusk Till Dawn vibe as well. But set in a Glasgow, fucking. Yeah, it's that kind of. Again, it's the thing making expectations. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Subverting expectations, but like the feel I want after I started writing it, the feel I wanted for it was almost like an Evil Dead 2 feel. We're going probably nowadays for the same budget as that had then, and look at the stuff that they fucking pulled off back then. That's crazy. That's what I would love to do. I'd love to people to watch it and say. Then find out how we did it and go, fuck me, that's just like folk that love what they do, or chip in, or doing like putting their time in, or putting their love in and fucking making this thing that I'm now sitting in my pants watching on Amazon. And I wanted a first film to be one that people could rewatch. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be that kind of craziness that you could go to the cinema every year and watch it.
Yeah, it gets weirdly kind of Lynchy in it bits as well, in some senses.
Well,
it's like,
I didn't see that until you said it, and I'm like, oh, it is a bit.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bit.
Yeah, I think Lynch was definitely where I was coming from with the kind of with my input was definitely coming through that sort of type of surrealist kind of shit.
Lynch is another one that I absolutely love a lot of stuff that Lynch has done, and there's other stuff that he's done that I fucking hate. He's done that wee experiment with the high def cameras and trying to make it look real. That is the worst. It's the worst thing. Fucking celluloid ever. He made like a so boring. He made David Lynch stuff look boring and awful.
Mm.
It's just weird. Like that was the first time I switched the film off about halfway through, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Is this Cribs? Am I watching Cribs? It's just a bit behind there. What the fuck's going on?" But thankfully, that was short-lived, and he did say in an interview that I've watched that it wasn't like again he was experimenting. He's somebody that likes to like absolutely fucking see how different stuff works, and he was like, "That was an experiment. It didn't work. I'm glad I did it."
Yeah. Well, he always says like he doesn't like explaining his films to people because like to him, like it does mean something. Like it means something to him, but that as far as he's concerned, like it's up to the person watching it to work out what it means to them. And because he doesn't sit down to write like a beginning, a middle, and an end, a 3-act kind of story. He sits and
hang with the monkey.
Mate, what did Jack do is absolute genius. It's an absolute masterpiece.
Like I want you to send me the name of that on WhatsApp so I can show it to Becky because that one hurt me. And I loved it. Like, I loved it. Even after it, I turned to you and I says, "The fuck is that, John?"
That's true. I remember that actually. Yeah, I'll send you the Got a Light scene as well for Twin Peaks season 3 because that's incredible.
Okay. But even, like, do you know stuff for like even like Jim Jarmusch?
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Jarmusch,
the dead man, the one with Johnny Depp, and he done cigarettes and thing as well. He's done some fucking amazing stuff. Obviously, years and years ago, he done amazing stuff. See, he's kind of newer stuff when you start looking at it. It just seems like he doesn't give a fuck anymore as well. But he keeps saying, try to be highly experimental. You know, you're being lazy. It's like lazy, right? Yeah. His newer stuff is only on fucking Amazon Prime. It's never been released in limited theatre release. It's just shit. I know the guy's 70 now, but these are folks that are great. You don't see John Carpenter churning out shit now.
No. Ridley Scott's like 82 and he's like bringing out bangers every 6 months.
Yeah, I know he just fucking churns him. He's a machine.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw Napoleon the other week. I really enjoyed Napoleon. It's got kind of mixed reviews, but you've got Gladiator 2 coming, and then he's working on something else as well.
Gladiator 2, even more gladiator.
Yeah, gladiate harder. Oh man, what were we talking about?
Soundbooth, mate.
Influences. We were talking about influences. What's the budget, and what kind of budget are you shooting for, and where is it you go to get money for a film?
A lot a lot of the funding I was looking at, it's all match funding, but based on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. I didn't really I feared doing Kickstarter because it's an all or nothing. You either get it or you get fuck all. But see, the more kind of research I've done into it, Kickstarter's got like its own creative kind of world and thing. They own it already. There's people that are just on Kickstarter. It's like their Facebook. It's got its own kind of thing. Boards and that. So see, there's like a decent project on Kickstarter, and a lot of them, like horrors, do particularly well on it. It'll get funded by, like just chasing fucking family and friends for cash then. If it's good enough, if the presentation's good enough, if the idea is good enough, it'll do quite well. And it's like the numbers were fucking crazy. It was like you've got an 80% more chance of getting something funded on Kickstarter as you have on anything else, like GoFundMe and that. Right. Okay. And that is, like you can't deny that. You can't say no to it after that. So I think I was aiming for, with the budget I was looking for zero budget was about 20 grand. But I'm hoping for more. If we get more, we stretch it, it will make stuff better in it. But again, we're saving a lot of money because a lot of the folk that are working with us, a lot of the folk that are putting in their skills, we're getting them all working with us, and if it does well, they'll get a cut out of it. So
so it's all back end.
That's
it's
people a big fucking portion of the budget. Like you know the folk that we know for the Icebox and that, all these folk that have read the script and they're like, I want in. Quite happy to be in. That's all folk that would cost us a fucking fortune normally. So
absolutely.
We've found ourselves in a good position to make this. And again, that's it. Everything's led up to this. So we've found ourselves in a position that we've got all the contacts and all the folk, the cast and the crew, for people that we know that aren't just like friends and family. It's folk that do this. They're in the industry. They do this for a living. Even Lampies are dear as fuck. Like I was stunned when I checked how much it would cost us to get a lighting guy in. Stunned, but we know a couple that are like, no, we'll do it. We just want in. We'll do it. We'll do it for this fucking beer and an IMDb. So, I was stunned by a lot of them, and it's worth it. I mean, what they do is a lot of work, and they're bringing their own equipment and that. But I'm just always stunned about the cost of things now. I mean, I'm stunned when I go to the fucking shop for bread, mate. I'm just like, what? What?
You're just stunned in general.
I'm that age now where money always surprises me. It's always bigger than I think it is. So,
back in my day, you get 15 pence polo mints and 10 pence crisps.
With a quid, you could go to the cinema, mate, and then the swimming baths or some shit.
A
bowl of chips on the way up the road.
You could buy a house on a fucking cleaner's salary back in the day. No anymore.
No anymore, mate. Well, sorry, but like, see, when I was telling you zero budget in it, some classes it's still class zero budget, and it's got up to 75 grand budget. That's still zero budget. That's zero.
Well, you look at like just
a low budget.
Yeah, just a low budget film these days is like $20+ million. You know what I mean? Like,
that's just low budget was like $100 grand up to $1 million.
There you go.
That's actually like that's
crazy money.
Yeah, it's crazy money.
But yeah, we're shooting for far less. What comes next after Soundbooth?
Well, I'm part way writing I've already started writing about it. Again, I've done what I did with the other one. I wrote the idea, started writing the start, got a bit at the end. I was trying to pull your pants and jump to take your trousers off here. Are you trying to do a Zoolander? Is that what's happening? You'll never date, John. I told you.
I'm just
I was kind of challenged to write a script in a certain amount of time, but I've got more time now because I'd explained, look, we've got awesome rewrites today, and the person that challenged me was like, no, do them first. That's obviously the most important thing. But I'm still starting this, I'm still going to get it done and finished. And I found that I'm writing a lot faster after the first one. I think I had to bring it up with the first one and then kind of churn through it. But I'm all just going for a slasher. Wee bit unusual, there's a wee bit of a twist in it, but it's got to be a slasher film, and it's got to be set in the bars overnight.
Right, okay. Is this going to be more in the vein of the first draft of Soundbooth, where it's going to be less humour and more kind of horror?
Aye, definitely it is. And weirdly, it's an amalgamation of two stories that I'd already had, and I never wanted to do just a normal slasher.
Yeah.
I love normal slashers. You do as well, like the Friday 13th. That you love them, but you want to write something a bit better.
Yeah.
Because I watch a slasher on Amazon now, and I'm like, I could do much better than that. That's not very good. And that's on Amazon making cash. It's fucking crazy. So,
also, ultimately, we have kind of an interesting sense of humour about things. Like, we're a wee bit off the beaten path in terms of what we both find funny.
I think there's always going to be a bit of humour in the stuff that I write.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Some of it that's not meant to be funny, it'll just be my sense of humour in it. So.
Aye. And people will either get it or they'll be completely repulsed by it, and that's fine. As long as they've paid to go in, then they can do what they want.
It's an in-joke, it's an in-joke.
What was I about to say? We're coming towards the end here, actually, but do you have any, James, other ideas in your head that you're working on beyond that next one? How far ahead do you look? Because you mentioned wanting to churn out a couple a year. So how far ahead are you actually looking?
Well, I've got well, you know a couple that I'd mentioned before. I've got about 6 that I could, that I've got actually like a start, a middle, and an end. I know how they end. That's always the important thing. Then you've got a framework, and then you just need to work round about that framework. But at least, well, not least now because I've merged 2 of them for the slasher one. Definitely, there's 2 of them that like I couldn't do unless I've already got an aim and I've already got stuff out there that I could get a bigger budget. I just couldn't. There's no point in fucking writing them down. I mean, that one I talked to you about, the set in hell. I couldn't fucking do that on a normal budget. That's a bigger. But again, we could go that this could be our Evil Dead. We do this. It could be our Brain Dead, like Peter Jackson did.
Then you get Lord of the Rings.
Before that, he did Bad Taste, and that was all just so he could do Lord of the Rings, basically. Yeah.
Just so that he could teach them that he either prove to them, I know how to use a camera, and like tell people to go there and do that.
Bad Taste is done on a fucking hugely low budget, because again, it was all his pals and all his fucking friends and family that did it. So,
it's like Christopher Nolan. He did Batman to prove to the studio that he could do. Was it Inception? So he wanted to do Inception, and he did Batman to prove to them that he could do like big studio movies.
Fucking hell!
Because he was, up until that point, he was kind of more known for things like Memento, which are indie or less kind of, there's less like set piece shit, and it's more an intimate kind of indie film. So that was why he did Batman.
Yeah. So. There's a couple other ones that I want to write, but I want to wait to him. I want to wait to him a better writer, basically, for it. I want to do him justice. And you get. You're right. So.
Do you see yourself tapping into the older stuff that you've written back in the day, like, and trying to finish some of that? Now that you've learned how to kind of let go of the doubt a wee bit.
Definitely. There's some stuff there that's gold, but I need to reread it to make sure it is still gold. And it's not like it's not like you're back and watching Spaceballs again. You're like, this is fucking terrible. This is awful. Don't watch Spaceballs.
I like Spaceballs.
It's fucking terrible, John. It's terrible.
I love Mel Brooks, to be fair. Blazing Saddles is great. My favourite film of his is Young Frankenstein. But yeah. What I want to do, we're going to wrap things up here because that's part 2 coming to an end. But what is your favourite horror film? And what is your favourite Christmas movie? Because it's Christmas.
Shit, I don't know. Don't know either of them. Favourite Christmas movie might be Gremlins.
Good choice.
Horror film, but I just don't fucking know. There's too many.
What did you say? What did you say during the horror movies episode that we did back at the start of 2023?
I'd say always my top 3 that never goes out of top 3 is Jaws. Always.
You might have said Jaws, actually. Yeah.
It's always in the top 3. Sometimes it's 1, 2, or 3, but it never goes out. Some of the rest of them kind of go through time and replace with other stuff. Jaws is always in there because Jaws just works in so many different fucking levels.
I've never seen it.
It's fucking weird.
I've read the book, but I've never seen the movie.
It's different. It's absolutely different.
That's the book. Jaws for me has become one of the movies. You know how everybody's got that movie that they just flat out refuse to watch because everybody's like, watch it, and it's like, no.
Yeah,
I just don't care. I just don't care about Jaws.
Fucking
sorry.
No, just watch that one, the
Cabin in the Woods. I've rented it. I'm going to watch it tomorrow night.
Then get back to me, Joe.
I watched it on Thursday night. I mean, it was great. We're fucking breaking the space-time continuum here. Okay, well, let's wrap it up there, man. We'll probably revisit and do some more Q&As as we get further along the production on Soundbooth. They won't all be an hour and a half long. This has been an absolutely monumental episode in 2 parts. I hope that people enjoyed it. Merry Christmas once again for the Icey Boys, and Jamie, I shall catch you next week for Icey Cast Names of Games. The letter A, and this was an idea that we came up with nearly a year ago, and we actually announced it, and then we just never followed up on it. So we're going to pick some games that begin with the letter A, and we're going to talk about our thoughts on them, and I don't know, rank them or something. We never really put that much thought into it. The week after that is one that I'm really looking forward to. We're going to dive back into my record collection. We're going to talk about The Shape of Punk to Come by Refused, 1998 masterpiece of theirs, or The Shape of Punk to Come, A Chimerical Abomination in 12 Bursts, to give it its full title. Swedish hardcore punk band Refused. They are excellent, and I look forward to talking about that on the show in a couple of weeks' time. In the meantime, follow us on Facebook. It's at Icebox Glasgow and at Icey Cast Pod for Icebox and the podcast, respectively. Follow us on Instagram, X, or Twitter, whatever you call it these days. I've been off it for months. Twitch and YouTube. That's the four. They're all just at Icebox Glasgow, and keep up the latest goings on with the film by following at Fright or Flight Promotions on Facebook. If you want to help us out financially, which we could really use considering that we're trying to make a film, become a member of our Patreon. We have a Patreon, and you get all the episodes of the podcast early by doing so. As we get further and further into production, there's probably going to be some wee exclusives chucked on Patreon as well, so it won't just be early access. You're going to get exclusive access to certain behind-the-scenes content for the film. You'll certainly get it all early, just like you do with the podcasts. That's patreon.com/iceboxglasgow if you want to help us out. That would be immensely appreciated. That's it, really.
That's it.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you in 2024.
Yep.
Jamie, I'll see you before then, but yeah, let's... in 2 nights' time, Wednesday, as you're watching this, the 27th, join us for several hours of Fallout. We're going to play Fallout 76 together on Twitch. Jamie and I, and we're going to chat. We'll probably talk a wee bit more about Soundbooth there, so if you want to dive into any of the questions that have been asked and answered here, you can join us on Twitch and comment and say, right, give us your questions and we'll answer them.
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
You know? You might not like the answer, because the answer might just be fuck up, I'm not telling you, but you can try. Anyway,
that's a good ending.
That's that then. Yeah, let's go. I'm tired now. It's almost midnight, and I still have to stay up to upload both of these episodes to Patreon. Become a member at patreon.com/iceboxglasgow. Good night, Jamie. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.